Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of Copyscope, your business podcast for leaders and influencers in the market of Malaysia. Today, I have another very interesting guest, Mr. Jacob Lee. He's the president of the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturing since December 25, and it was super hard to get him, but we managed it. So, welcome, Jacob, to our show.
Thank you, Tindaro, for having me. Yeah.
Yes, and I mentioned it was difficult to get you because you started up in December and you were super busy from the start, booked with all kinds of appointments you needed to take care of. So it's not quite yet 100 days, but almost 100 days. If you give me a little bit of an insight, or our audience a little bit of an insight, what happened so far? What was the first 100 days for you so far?
Well, first, my apologies for delaying my first podcast appointment. This is a new duty for me, a new assignment. So I'm for the first 100 days, I'm spending most of my time, learning to do the job well. However, we do achieve quite a fair bit. We managed to visit 3 federal cabinet ministers. We have met with Minister of Human Resources. We have met with Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation, and we have also met with the Minister of Economy. During the conversation, we talk about FMM aspiration. We are fully aligned with the National Industry Master Plan, which has been launched by our Prime Minister, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. That is to build an economy with complexity.
Right.
And this is how the manufacturing sector comes in. Manufacturing sector is a very significant GDP contributor. We contribute about 23% of the national economy, and 80% of the export in Malaysia are manufactured products. And we employ 2.3 million workers. So a economy with complexity means economy with high value chain and also innovations and research and development. So that is the direction that FMM is totally and 100% with the government.
Right. So maybe elaborate a little bit on what it means higher complexity. So I always hear the slogan move from made in Malaysia to made by Malaysia.
Yeah.
Is that a good kind of shortening of what it's all about?
Well, that is the Malaysian, I would say, manufacturing industry journey. Okay, we are moving from value-based, cost-effective, price competitive or price sensitive manufacturing to hopefully a more value based and innovative products.
Right.
Moving from being an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, to ODM, and hopefully we can achieve our own brand, our own design. That is the original brand manufacturer.
Yes.
So this is a journey that we hope to see our manufacturing industry would be able to realize. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a big aspiration, right? Because
it is, yeah.
It's really coming into the forefront of things. Also thinking about R&D and innovations coming and born out of the factory in Malaysia, so to speak. Where you see, what are the roadblocks that you see that we have to tackle now, and what are the roadblocks that maybe we can have another 5 years to address, but now, what are the immediate things that you think we have to get a handle on?
Well, in certain sense, to me, it is a formidable task. It is truly a very challenging and high objective to aim. You talk about the roadblock, I think it's more on the talent gap that we are having. for most of the Malaysian graduates or university students, once they finish their undergrad study, they get a bachelor degree from the university. To many Malaysians, it will be the end of their education. They say, okay, we will start burning our books already. We don't want to touch the books anymore.
Yeah.
Well, recently I have a conversation with my nephew who just signed up a master degree course in university in Malaysia. He's doing robotic science and AI technology, a class of 20 students. And he told me he is the only Malaysian. So you can see that the appetite for graduate study among the Malaysians are very low. So that is probably the biggest roadblock. We must create a certain quantum mass, of PhD students or master students, so that they are able to be the major mover for research, development, and also innovation. So building an ecosystem for RDI is one of the major tasks of FMM. The other thing is the ecosystem. We hope that at the moment, I think Malaysia general investment into R&D, the capital expenditure is very low. I think it's less than 1%. So that is quite a serious phenomenon. So we hope to work with MOSTI, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, so as to encourage more government funding and also the private funding. Recently, we have signed MOU with 4 universities, with universities of Monash, Sunway University, UCSI, and USM. So we hope to bring about a closer collaboration between the academia and the university.
Right.
And the next one will be the government. We hope that the government will be in full support to this initiative that FMM has done. The other thing we hope to see is also the convergence of educations into economic value, whereby this is one big gap that I observe in Malaysia. There was one report that I read. The level of investment in education in Malaysia and Australia, they're relatively quite comparable. However, the convergence from our education investment into economic value output, Malaysia is far behind Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is something that we have explored. And
I mean, you opened up actually. If I listen carefully to what you say, you open up 3 buckets that need to be looked at. One, which was very interesting, the appetite of the young people to actually get higher education. Second, making sure there's a platform for them to get the higher education that is relevant. So your MOUs with the universities. And the third is, once they have the education, how are we going to manage to bring this education to something impactful in the economy, right? So now I'm seeing what you're saying, that FMM is doing a good job on, preparing the platform for people to actually get the education they need that are relevant to the industry that we have in Malaysia. But how you create the appetite to begin with? What is needed, and what kind of stakeholders we need to work together with FMM and others to create this appetite to begin with, so people actually go to the platform and get their education? What do you think?
yeah, I think on this, FMM has also started the FMM Youth. In fact, as you understand, in Malaysia, 97% of the corporations are SMEs. And many of these SMEs, it's family-based business. They pass on the leadership, the management role to their children.
Yeah.
Okay, so we started the FMM Youth, whereby I think 70% of our youth members are the second generations owner of the organization. And I think we have communicated to them that the Malaysia the world manufacturing industry or the world industries are actually in the crossroad. We are facing a technology revolution when AI comes in. So it is not a good to have kind of technology. It is a must-have technology that we need to embrace. And for the youth, I'm telling them, you have 30 years, 40 years of your career. So it is good to immediately embrace this technology so that we can be more competitive. We can be relevant. We can continue to stay resilient in the business.
But how you reckon is this creating appetite for the youngsters? Or let me put it the other way. Let me share maybe a conversation I had with my nephew. It was also, he was about to graduate from college. And the question was, do I go into higher education or not? Or I just go and do a job, right? Or create a business. And I, of course, tried to convince him to take up higher education. And his argument was, and it was a good argument, he said to me, "Uncle, knowledge is free. Why I should go and spend another 5 years on a university somewhere when anything I need to know, I can Google and I can smarten up myself like in the next hour. So you explain me," he said, "why do I need education?" And he had a point. I needed to pause and think. And the AI will accelerate that availability of knowledge, and it will curate the quality of it. So how you would answer my nephew?
I think your nephew is spot on. Okay, I do receive such kinds of questions too, and that's the question that I pose to the university as well, because now education in the modern sense or in the AI age has taken on in so many forms, not just the formal education, but it can be informal education. So maybe I need to qualify when we talk about moving on into the graduate studies or things like that. So it is not just confined to the university educations, but it can be your own self-learning from the available platforms.
Yeah.
But what the self-learning is different from the university learning is at least you get a certificate at the end of your studies. That is kind of like quality control or certification that you have acquired a certain skill set. The other thing is like it is a guided learning. I think that is that I think in the Malaysian context we still need that very much.
Yeah, and I think that you have a point there. My argument was to him saying the knowledge is maybe available, but going through an education process proves that you are able to approach a complex task and manage yourself through that process. And that's actually what big companies are looking for, or innovative companies that are about to develop the next generation of whatever technology. They're not looking for people that know stuff. They're looking for people that are able to approach a complex thing that is not yet explored. And that you have to prove somehow that you're capable to do that. And education might be a proof point for that.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You mentioned the new industrial master plan, and that FMM has taken up some responsibility to support the government there. There are a lot of aspirations listing down there what we want to achieve. From we want to have 3,000 smart factories by 2030. We want to have a certain upskilling happening. We want to be at a certain level when it comes to ESG regulations and so on and so forth. To your own estimation and observation, and based on the conversations you have with all the industry representatives and members of FMM, what do you think we have already kind of well managed as a Malaysian nation? And what are targets that are in the NIMP that are still, let's say, aspirational?
Well, the NIMP 2030 is a very big aspiration or dream that the Malaysian government wants to achieve. I think if we manage to get there, Malaysia will be a developed nation. You know, so industry will be very different. It encompasses the so-called ESG compliance. You talk about innovation. You talk about smart manufacturing. You talk about AI technologies. You talk about emerging technologies, you know, such as the EV ecosystem, pharmaceutical, medical devices, and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a very big aspiration. Sorry, what's your question again?
What of the targets that are listed out in IMP you think we already kind of achieved, and which are still very aspirational and a lot of work to be done?
I think in all of these, most of it we are still on the way. Okay, except what I would say, like our weakness, the weakest link is probably like on the ESG compliance.
Yeah.
The framework for ESG is still very much in the process. There hasn't been any very specific guideline for the industry. I think on the ESG. Other than that, most of it, like for example, like smart manufacturing, we have been rolling out the adoption processes and the assessment, readiness assessment for the industries. I think the government has put in a lot of incentive to the industry to do that adoption.
Yeah.
I think I would say the government is also leapfrogging on the ecosystem creation, such as like the digital platform, AI technology adoptions. So all these things, the government has like make the infrastructure available for the industry to embrace. Okay. The other things is on the execution side. As I mentioned, 97% of the Malaysian industries are SMEs. So there are a lot of gaps on the ground.
Yeah.
So most of the thing that we are seeing at the moment is incremental, improvement in the processes.
Yeah.
So this is the current situation that some are moving on a slower pace or in the beginning stage. Not everyone has started their so-called transformation process.
Yeah.
Okay, but the government has created the major enabler infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that it is possible for us to move on to that transformation process.
Let's stay maybe for a minute on this 3,000 smart manufacturing or smart factories. I have not yet come across somebody who can explain to me why 3,000? Why not 10? Why not 2? Why not 1? How we came up with 3,000?
I asked the same question for that matter. When FMM has been tasked to be the champion to transform 3,000 smart manufacturing, I didn't ask for more, definitely, because 3,000 is already very challenging.
Yeah.
It's already mission impossible. Okay. I would probably want to say, what do we mean by smart manufacturing?
Yeah.
What do we mean by an industry 4.0 company? You know, and well, Serim being the technology so-called not provider, they are the hand holding technology hand holder
Yeah.
to the company. So they have a certain kind of a definition, okay, or metrics to qualify you. But I think to us as the industry stakeholders, we will find that it's not the definition of what smart manufacturing is that important. Rather than you have to be in the process of becoming smart, I think that is a more meaningful question
Yes.
that we need to address.
Yeah. What is the reference point exactly? Well, when I got hold of this NIMP, and I read about these 3,000 factories, I was wondering how many manufacturing plants do we have actually in Malaysia? So is 3,000 a good representation? Is it low? Is it high? Is it the context? And maybe you have a better number for me. How many manufacturing plants do we actually have in Malaysia? Rough estimate. Are we in the 10,000s, in the 20,000s, in the 50,000s?
Well, I must say I do not have that number.
It's a good question. I'm sure we can Google that. But what I think is that we need to understand, is this 3,000 significant or not? Number one. Number two is, to your point, how we measure smart. What is our reference point, right? And who defines it? What I did look up, that was in December last year. I said, how many, according to Serum, are qualified as smart to their scheme,
Okay.
right? Guess what the number is? I tell you, 100.
Okay.
100, right? So we have the new industrial master plan. It started, I believe, in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, right? So with a horizon until 2030, as the plan says. And in 2025, we have not, it was not even 100, it was 90 something, right? That bears the question, how we believe that in the remaining time, we're going to make up for the rest of 2,900.
Yeah, as I mentioned, say earlier, that is a formidable task, number one. Number two, I think the difficulty of getting the numbers is that not many companies would want to report to you what is their status and the progress. Those people who have already done it, they probably do not report to you. I mean, I'm talking about those multinational companies, the larger companies. You know, they have already been doing it. You know, and even though I have visited some of the very large company, okay, they're considered to be the tier one company. When I ask them, you know, what do you think? Where are you in this industry 4.0?
Yeah.
And they would just say we are at 3.2. You know, so no one has told us, you know, that they are at 4. You know, even though you can see there is robotics, you know, there are a lot of system integration, there are a lot of so-called ERP, you know, digital, but they still feel that they are not there yet.
Right.
So it is also actually a very difficult question to answer. We have numerous meetings with MITI. We have communicated to them many times that, you know, that the so-called smart manufacturing, that definition, it is it varies from different people to different people. For the definition for a larger company and a medium company and a small company is so different. To many small industry, probably the possible thing for them to do is digitalization.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now, after certain years when we start doing this, and now when AI come in, and so people will feel that the digitalization is one of the first tasks that they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
For data collections on the floor. So I think that is still very much the beginning stage for that process.
Right. And I mean, FMM is one of the biggest industry association that we have here in Malaysia. So the reach you have through the organization into potential manufacturers that could adopt digitalization is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk to MITI and other bodies that are driving this industrial plan, what is the offering you bring to the table in the conversation to them? So how you help to leverage the members that you have to actually drive this digitalization?
Well, I think we bring to MITI the challenges that we have on the ground. Basically, we are short of system integrators.
Mm-hmm.
We are short of company that can handhold the smaller companies for that adoption.
Yep.
Yeah. So there is still a lot of gaps on the ground. I can tell you one of the experience that the common experience that SME faces. Just to start with the ERP adoption,
Yep.
a company like they want to install the ERP system. Some company will probably take 1 to 2 years, and even it is not done successfully.
Yeah.
Some of the installation of the IoT system in the production processes, it would take on a very long journey. One big challenge is not all system integrators can give you good solution. That is the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I want to tell you my own experience. Okay, that is a very painful experience. I invested about 2 million ringgit, in one of the robotic punching for the metal parts.
Yeah.
My vendor in China, he has a similar process. Okay, he only invested about 1 million renminbi.
Mm-hmm.
So I invested 2 million ringgit. He invested 1 million renminbi. It's only about 30% of what I have invested. And the output that he has is about 3 times my output.
Wow.
So what is the problem? The problem is the system integrator that you have in Malaysia do not give you the right solution. It can still give the result, but that result is a very inefficient.
It's not up to the mark.
Not up to the mark.
Not up to the mark.
So I want to explore. I want to find out what happens. You see, in China, they have so many companies. The system integrators will probably have a lot of specialization.
Mm-hmm.
If he's specialized on the sheet metal fabrication, some on packaging, and some on the lens of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So they will do that specialization.
Right.
But in Malaysia, our system integrators will probably serve multi industries.
Mm.
So the kind of specialization is not there, and that is the result of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the slow uptake of this technology transformation is probably some of the painful lessons that they have learned. Mm-hmm. They invested, but they don't get the result.
Mm-hmm. I think you have a very good point there. I mean, you just triggered some, and I have the similar experience. As Siemens, we have a lot of partners and system integrators who work together. And you're right. Every time I'm trying to get out of them a commitment to a certain market and a certain portfolio, they would like to do everything and everywhere. So that there's an aversion towards specializing knowledge, and I've not figured out why. Right, but you're absolutely right. There's somehow everybody wants to do everything everywhere, but the result of it is they can do everything a little bit, but nothing in depth. And maybe that's something that I think you're on a good thought there.
Because our economy is not big enough to cater for that kind of specialization for them to focus.
Yeah,
If he was to focus on this sheet metal,
yeah.
probably he wouldn't get the business in a year.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It's not sustaining. Okay. Maybe another thought. Maybe let's go a little bit more on a macro view. A lot of things happening at the moment geopolitically, which has an impact, which could accelerate or slow down the development in Malaysia. The funny thing is always this: the strong currency. If the currency is weak, everybody's complaining it's weak. Now the currency is strong, everybody complaining it's too strong.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny in itself. But what are, let me phrase it that way, what are macroeconomic developments at the moment that you observe, which makes you hopeful for Malaysia, or maybe not so hopeful?
Well, I think the geopolitical tension, the trade war between US and China did some good for Malaysia in a certain sense. I still remember in the year 90, I began to invest in China. Okay, 1990 or 1995. That's sort of the kind of time frame. Many of the Taiwanese investors, initially Malaysia was one of their preferred investment destination. By the year 2000, they also, or the mid of 90s, they also left Malaysia and moved from Malaysia to China. So, and with this geopolitical tension, Malaysia has been a kind of a beneficiary of the situation, whereby a lot of the industries, foreign investments are coming back to Malaysia.
Yeah.
And I think Malaysia, we do need foreign investment so as to help us to move up the value chain, the technology transfer. Okay. However, as I mentioned earlier, we don't see the kind of transformation that foreign direct investment has done to Malaysia as what they have done to China. My own personal observation in China in those years, the rise of China owe a great deal to the Taiwanese and the Hong Kong investor. Malaysia too have the similar advantage. We have the Taiwanese, Hong Kong, US, European investment in Malaysia. However, we don't see the kind of leapfrog of our own technology. And I think, as I mentioned much earlier in my beginning, we talk about the success of education, the relevance of our education. Or probably our education is not so much industry driven. That's why it does not create a kind of impact to our economy.
Yeah, and I think it was in one of the FMM meetings you had with some of the universities. There was a conversation which I thought was spot on about. It's not that the education sector is not available, but what the education sector is offering is not matching 100% the requirements of the industries.
Yes.
Right. So we are missing that interaction, that exchange of demand and supply as in knowledge, and then the conversation span around that very often the demand is nowadays cross-functional. So I need people that understand a little bit IT, but also understand what a machine in the shop floor, how it works, right?
Yes.
And to connect these two worlds,
Yeah.
which in the education sector still is a parallel stream of faculties. One is the IT faculty, the other one is the robotics, manufacturing machines faculty. Bringing this together, that's where digitalization actually happens for the industry.
That's exactly what we are short of. I tell you my experience when I studied in Canada. Okay, there was an exercise where we need to fix a water pump. Okay, so we were divided into small groups. So I have the group. My group mates are from Hong Kong and Taiwan. Okay, other groups are the Canadians and other people. So when we begin to do that assembly exercise, I see those Canadian students, they already start, assembling it. Whereas the Asian students, we are still reading the manual. What is an impeller? Where is the suction? Where is the, all the parts? Because to us, this is the first time ever in our life to see a water pump.
Yeah.
But to some of my Canadian friends, it is something that they always do, in their farm.
Yeah.
So you can see,
Yeah.
that education must be relevant to your everyday life, and so that you can create more value input to your life.
So
the application side,
applied knowledge.
Yes. The application side.
Yeah. And I think also, but now I'm just assuming because actually I don't know Canadian culture well enough, but I could assume that the readiness to make mistakes and then just move on and try it again is maybe higher in the North American culture. Yeah, just do it, right? Where, and I can tell you that for being half German, in Germany that's not the case. Germans, they have to understand everything in very detail before they actually start going into work. I think maybe there's also an element of a cultural mindset to approach new things.
Sometimes it's also the affordability. You can't afford to lose because your resources
you're right.
is limited.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be very careful. What to choose in your career, in your education, and even your life partner. Because you can't afford to make mistake.
Yeah.
That could be because from the Asian perspective, we do not come from we come from a very poor background. I mean, not so affordable, not so affluent. In terms of wealth. Yeah.
I think that's also a very interesting thought, because it's not just luxury to have education. There's an expectation. If you go down that way, you actually have to, at the end of the day, provide back to the family that invested in you, maybe in your education, and there's some expectation of the return on that invest, right? I think that's also spot on. Maybe let's talk a little bit about Jacob as a person in more detail, because we talked a little bit around FMM and how you support the NIMP. But who's Jacob Lee? What you do outside of FMM? What characterizes you?
Well, I think I'm a very ordinary person. Okay. I grew up in a middle class family. Okay. So I went to Canada to do my university education. But when I was young, I come from a very traditional Chinese family. So I am probably have the benefit of having the very Oriental values and also exposed to a lot of Western values. So I think I'm very much in the middle. Okay. As a person, well, I'm a businessman, of course. I set up my own company. I was fortunate to start at a time when Malaysia has one of our most progressive prime minister, that's Tun Mahathir. So in his time, I think there was a lot of developments. So I started my company, my business at that time. So it was easy for me, I have fairly smooth and easy success for the early part of my business. So besides business, I am also a humanitarian worker. I founded the Methodist Crisis Relief and Development. Well, I'm a churchman myself. So when Malaysia was hit with one of the worst ever flood in Malaysia, I think where about 7 states were soaked in water.
Okay.
So I started the flood relief. I'm also the board chair for World Vision Malaysia. World Vision has they have humanitarian work, community transformation work for the vulnerable children. Okay, so we have a lot of ministry towards the refugees and the vulnerable community. As a person, I'm also an art student. Okay, I like to paint. Watercolor is my subject of learning. Okay, I like to paint. I do painting every Friday evening, and I have passion in cooking for my friends. So to me, I think I'm enjoying my life. Very much. Yeah.
That makes you very not ordinary, I have to say. That makes you actually very special. And I have to say that the painting that I could see last time, it's outstanding. It's on a level that I would spend real money on it just to have it in my living room. So
I should have.
I should have given. So I would have I very appreciate your art and your skills there, and it makes you interesting. Because you could see in you enjoying art, you enjoying cooking, being active in humanitarian organizations, that you really have a heart for people. And I imagine sometimes that is in tension with the strict KPIs of the industry, what needs to get done, and how you manage sometimes this not so easily to bring together two worlds. One is the industry, throat cut world at times, and then the humanitarian side that is clearly in your soul as well.
Yeah, I try to be myself. I know there are certain stands that the two sides could not agree. I follow what my heart drives me. Okay, probably I come from, just now I mentioned I come from middle class background. In fact, it's the lower middle class. I know the plight of the poor people. I always have a very strong heart, a big heart for the needy people. So, as I say, I just follow what my heart do, and I think you have that kind of achievement, when you see people are being helped. And to be very frank, I would say that my life was changed because somebody gave me a hope, and I want to pass on that hope.
Yes.
To the person that I come by who needs that.
That's beautiful.
That help.
Man.
Yeah,
that's beautiful, Jacob. And I you know what I observe is, at times I feel, as a society, we forgot to appreciate and for my colleagues, it's like a broken record because I say it very often, that we forgot to appreciate the benefit of going through times of struggle, or when you come up from a middle class or a lower class level and you make your way up, you certainly go through struggles. But the struggles and the experience through that makes you the person you are, and makes you and shapes you into that leadership personality that you are. So sometimes we are underestimating the benefits struggle can bring, and so I appreciate when you mention that you have seen that and gone through that and had somebody who gave you belief and hope, and helped you through that time, and then made you into that leadership person that you are today.
Thank you.
Yeah, crazy. Very good. Very good. Okay. I think we're about to wrap up. If there's one or two or three key messages you want to get out to anybody who's happened to dial in on this podcast, a message that you say, this is what FMM now under your presidency is standing for, and mark my words, this is what is going to happen. What would be the key message you wanna bring out?
Well, I would probably say FMM is a nation builder. I think there's many things that we can still do to make Malaysia a much better place. I had a conversation with the minister a few days ago. Okay, he told me all the economic numbers are good. Okay, that show that the government is doing a great job. And I told the minister, I say, Minister, we probably need to watch the Gini index. The Gini index tells the disparity between the rich and the poor. And I think with the advancement of technology, with AI coming in, okay, probably the world will go to two extreme. The rich will be more rich, much richer, and the poor will be more poorer. So I think the government really need to look into how to close the gap and how these resources could be distributed evenly. I think partly FMM as the manufacturing leader, I think we want to do a better job for Malaysia and help to lift up the B40 group to have higher earning. I think that is something very much in my heart, or very much in the leadership, FMM leadership.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jacob. And then, if I'm also allowed to mention, I'm blessed enough to be also partner of the FMM Council. So I'm very much looking forward to work together with you on your agenda.
And I really appreciate that you agree to offer yourself to serve, to join us in the FMM leadership. Thank you very much, Tindaro.
Yes, it's my pleasure. And I think there's a lot that FMM as an organization can offer if the right mindset is in the leadership team. And I see that happening with you and what you did so far. So I appreciate you and what you have done so far in your first 100 days. So thank you for coming around, to being our guest. And to all the viewers, I'm sure you enjoyed our chit-chat that we had today. And leave your likes and subscribe to our channel, obviously. And stay tuned and be safe, and see you next time. Thank you.